Aronin out of Boca. He's joining us, old friend from law school and someone who is very up to date on not just the law, but also on working via COVID and Zoom with all of us. So Barry, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you work, what you do, and we'll go from there.
Well, Mark, thank you very much for having me on today. Thank you, everyone at Onset with Sawicki. My name is Barry Aronin. I'm originally from the frozen tundra of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Moved to South Florida in about 1995 and have been in South Florida ever since. I'm the director of PIP litigation and workers' compensation at Lebovic Law Group. Basically represent medical doctors throughout the state of Florida and also represent injured workers throughout the state of Florida. I went to high school and college in South Florida as well. I went to law school with Mark, as he mentioned before. We went to Nova Southeastern University. Been at Lebovic Law Group for about 6 years now. Prior to that, I was working for a law firm that did PIP and workers' comp as well in South Florida. And while I was in law school, I interned for an appellate attorney who also dabbled in personal injury law and some medical doctor work as well.
So it seems like, Barry, that you and I went complete opposite directions after law school. All I've done is wonderful marital and family law, and it seems like you are a PIP expert at this point.
Exactly, Mark, exactly.
So what drove you to be involved in PIP and workers' comp litigation?
Just seeing the inequities of what happens in medicine in Florida. So there's a federal law that basically provides for reimbursement for emergency room doctors. It's called EMTALA, and there wasn't one for the most part to support doctors down in Florida who treat car accident patients, right? So to keep hospitals in business, to keep emergency room doctors in business, to ensure that patients get the medically necessary treatment they need, the PIP law came in. However, when I was younger, my mother got in a pretty bad car accident, and she attempted to get treatment with a chiropractor. She attempted to get treatment with an orthopedic doctor. But unfortunately, the insurance company just cut it off and said she wasn't entitled to any benefits at all. And, that certainly angered me as a young kid, seeing my mom go through that type of a situation, seeing the doctors, kind of had their hands tied behind their back and attempt to do as much as they possibly could under those limitations. So that certainly inspired me to go into that field. In regards to injured workers, I actually took a course at Nova, believe it or not, a workers' comp course. It was a once in a lifetime situation. Apparently, they don't offer the course much anymore. And it piqued my interest in Florida, another inequitable situation where the law is no fault. The insurance companies truly attempt to obstruct as much as they can. So fighting for the everyday person inspires me.
So especially during COVID, it's affected our business where, we are trial attorneys who are, don't have juries, but, we've had to adapt to Zoom and at a level that has really, really helped not just the consumer in our world, but also taking pressure off judges and attorneys. How has COVID affected your business? And let's talk specifically, I guess, from you do it any way you want, but let's start with how it affected from the client meeting you. Because I can tell you that we've had full trials at this point with clients I've never met in person. We've only met over Zoom and FaceTime. So how has it affected you guys with client intake, but also how has it affected the court system?
So it's a very good point, Mark. It's been a strange time, as I'm sure everyone can agree. However, it's actually worked and synced very well with our practice. So a couple of years ago, we went to a contract system to sign up our clients, a web-based system called Right Signatures, and we adapted it to our platform. So we speak to our clients, obviously, over the phone. We walk through the contract with them, the contract of representation, and we're able to reach more people throughout these COVID times because, look, everyone's unfortunately at home. They're hunkering down. there's more accessibility because they're at home, and we're able to offer them a web-based platform both to our medical doctors and our injured worker clients. Like you said, Mark, everything's being done on Zoom. So all of our hearings for both PIP and workers' comp are being done on the computer. Um, serious motion hearings are being done on Zoom. And, at first it was somewhat strange, but now it's an everyday, way of life, just as we wake up and eat breakfast. So um, it's been a strange time, but it's certainly allowed us to reach more clients, and truly help people out more than prior to COVID.
So I know you're a big Heat fan. So have you bought a Tyler Hero jersey yet?
So Tyler Hero is certainly a top five favorite player of mine. Have not purchased a jersey for him yet, although there's a possibility my 2-year-old son may have a Hero jersey for Hanukkah.
That is great. And the better question is, do you think you can beat him on 3-point or dunking? Or maybe just
20 years ago, 20 years ago, no. Today, absolutely not. The knees, Mark, have given out at this point.
Perfect. And so tell me about, are you an Apple or an Android person?
Um, you know, I am technologically unsavvy. I'm still stuck in the 90s, but my preference is Apple.
So
I find Android to be difficult. What about yourself?
tell you, we become an Apple person. Computer, Mac, computer, regular Windows, but phone, I've switched to an Apple. And let me tell you, we just got this new iPhone Max Pro, the giant one, and it has changed everything. I'm part of a committee for the Florida Bar that's the COVID committee in reality. And one of the things we talk about is joining this light wave, the light wave of technology that people are either getting stuck behind or they're joining it. And I'm glad that firms like yours have embraced technology and even ahead of the time, because clients who are injured, they don't want to go to office to office to office to talk to attorneys. You get a very personal individual like you, who is, I assume, available over the telephone, Zoom, pretty much any form of communication that a client would want, especially an injured client. I'm sure you guys more than glad to jump on board with that.
Yeah, absolutely. You said it, Mark. It's our preference to actually, obviously in during these COVID times, to speak to them over the phone, to speak to them through computer mediums, to have a larger reach in the state of Florida. And we have proprietary technology within our office for medical doctor clients, where we can take thousands of their claim files in a medically safe way, HIPAA safe way, to scan all their files and send out what we call demand letters to insurance companies, track them, and send monthly reports. So we certainly embrace technology here.
Which is amazing. Where do you see your field transitioning in the next 5 years?
So from a litigation standpoint, kind of what you alluded to, Mark, I see a lot of hearings moving forward. I mean, even after these COVID times, the more not minuscule, but the minor hearings that aren't juries in the personal injury protection field, I see them resuming on Zoom, to be honest with you. I don't see the need to go to the courthouse to argue, like smaller 5-minute motion calendar motions. And then pre-trials, they're exclusively via Zoom through the end of the year. And the chief judge is alluding to the fact that it just might continue that way from here on out.
I can tell you again, just with some of my knowledge of inner working for the COVID committee for Florida Bar, that, and also being an attorney in New York, New York is shut down until February, anything in person. I think that's going to continue down here. And the big thing is, we're told that with our 5-minute UMC hearings, just like yours, uniform motion calendar, and even small issues, 15, 20-minute contested issues, that the courts are actually really enjoying the Zoom. And also the big reason I like it is what's important to us, and I'm sure which is important to your firm, is making sure that the clients, any dollar the client spends is well worth it. Being able to bill for 10 minutes for a 5-minute hearing versus an hour of sitting there and waiting for in line, it really helps the client's bottom line. And listen, times are tough right now. Everyone's hurting. And the fact that if someone can call you guys with a PIP problem, and instead of having to spend hours and hours and hours of your time waiting in line to do so. If you do it over the computer and get the same result, I'm sure the clients are happy about that also.
Yeah, absolutely. Like they sit for depositions in the comfort of their home, take a break for a quick lunch, quick snack, whatever it may be. And it's just a relief. And, ultimately, it's less pressure for them. They're not in the courthouse, and especially our doctor clients. Our goal generally is to minimize litigation for doctor clients because they have much more important things to do, i.e., treat patients. But same token, if they can sit for a deposition at home, I mean, or within their office, they truly appreciate it.
So who is your ideal client?
So the ideal client is any type of medical professional you could dream of in Florida that takes car accident patients. So I represent orthopedic doctors, chiropractors, and so we have a new niche too, emergency medicine. So we represent ambulance services, counties, you name it, we represent them. So, and then on the injured worker side of the house, it's someone injured within the state of Florida at work.
And what's the best way for those people to get in contact with you?
Like you said before, Mark, it's cell phone, email, you name it, bat signal. We're here for them. Um, you know, uh, my email is baronin@lebovic.com.
Would you
Or,
mind spelling that for everyone? I'm sure we'll put across the bottom also, but would you mind spelling that?
sure. It's B as in boy, Aronin at Lebovic, which is LABOVICK.com.
And what's the telephone number to reach you guys there?
It's 561-625-8314, and that's my direct line.
And since COVID started, a lot of people, including ourselves, are really kind of only eating outside and doing that lovely, social distancing concept. And by the way, on set with Sawicki is socially distant now, just to make sure safety. And the big thing for us is, so where is your favorite restaurant you guys have gone at, or have you picked up any new hobbies during the quarantine?
So believe it or not, we haven't gone to dinner since the beginning of COVID. We recently had a second child 5 months ago, so we're attempting to stay away. But our favorite restaurant generally is Houston's in Boca Raton off of Glades. It's always consistent and great food. Any hobbies? Um, Outdoor working out, if you will, more cardio based working out. Whereas before I was worried about lifting the most amount of weight I possibly could. Now it's more cardio based and staying lean.
So just we have it's 561-625-8314. We'll fix that.
Yes.
So I'll tell you that we got our Peloton bike. That has been amazing. I'm 3 weeks strong doing that, following some people, really getting good cardio. And also during the quarantine, we bought a smoker and I've been doing a lot of smoked turkeys and beef briskets and all that stuff. We're really getting our enjoyment out of that. So awesome. Barry, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl this year?
As a biased Packer fan, I'm always going to tell you the Packers. In reality, I see the Chiefs winning.
Perfect.
What about yourself?
I tend to agree. I think Aaron Rodgers might be one of the MVPs. I think Buffalo is pretty scary, but you're always going to go with KC. So let's do this. You'll take Green Bay. I'll take Buffalo as outside shots. How about that?
Fine by me. I like it.
Quarantine's over. We'll bet a steak dinner.
Let's do it, Mark. It's long overdue.
Perfect. Barry, thank you for being on set with Sawicki. Fans out there, thank you. And this would be on LinkedIn, Instagram, so all the forms of social media. Remember, if you have any workers' comp or any PI issues, call Barry Aronin, and he'll take care of you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks, Mark.